Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to continue our read aloud for Front Desk, Chapter 63. My mother was inconsolable that night. She couldn't believe that her own sister would rather buy a fancy penthouse in Beijing than help her own sibling. As she buried her head into her pillow, my father tried his best to comfort her. I can't believe she said no, my dad said to my mom. My mom said to my dad, I couldn't either. Never in a million years did I think my aunt would say no, not after my mom told her what we were going through. I guess a lot had changed since we left, not just the neighborhood, but the people too. They were probably splitting the bill now. It's okay, my dad said. We tried. You heard what Hank said. It's no skin off our back. It is, my mom cried. It's the skin and the hair and everything. I bit my lip as I listened from my bed. Now we'll just be employees for the rest of our lives, working for one person after another. Not everyone can lead Ying, my dad said. Some people are just destined to be followers. As my father started going on about a fate again, I threw my head down on the pillow. I didn't believe that we are destined to be followers. I didn't believe that we are supposed to just stay in the roller coaster forever. I thought about all the people I had met this year and how we all deserve better. Lupe, Hank, and the other weeklies and all the immigrants. So many wonderful people from all different parts of the world. If there was only a way we could join together and break free. Wait a minute. What if we didn't need one rich relative? What if we needed instead was a lot of poor people? My mom said it herself. Everybody could put in a little. Lupe came straight over the next day and squealed when I told her her plan. Of course, why didn't we think of this earlier? Mr. Yao desperately wants to sell the motel. We could probably get it for cheap. She grabbed my hand and we ran out to the back to find Hank. It was Saturday and Hank was outside his room watering his tomato plant. How much do you think Mr. Yao wants for the motel? We asked him. Hank stopped watering and drew a sharp breath. At least $300,000, I'd say. Why, you guys find another rich relative? No, we're all out of those, but we knew a lot of people, sure. They were all poor, but if everybody put in a little. And it wouldn't be a donation, it would be an investment. We'd own the motel together, I told Hank. I pulled out my notebook and showed him and Lupe my calculations. Their eyes boggled when they saw the math. This place makes $12,000 a month, Lupe asked. Holy, that's serious money, Hank exclaimed. 144,000 a year to be exact. Hank slapped his leg. That's it. I'm in, he declared. Hank emptied every pocket of his jacket. He dug his fingers into the backs of his chairs and checked under his bed for money. He even checked his shoes. He managed to find $78.56, which wasn't a lot, but it was something. The other weeklies, as soon as they heard, wanted to contribute too. Fred put in $100 and Billy Bob put in $200. Mrs. C contributed $250, but it was Mrs. Q who put in the most, a whopping $3,000. Hank whistled. You got $3,000 laying around and you live in a dump? He asked her. Why don't you get an apartment? This isn't a dump, Mrs. Q said. This is a home. And besides, if I lived in an apartment, I'd never meet all of you wonderful people. She gave my shoulders a squeeze. Lupe skipped on home to talk to her parents. She said they had some sort of emergency fund, and she wasn't sure how much was in there. As for me, I dug out my essay from the contest. I made copies of the essay and passed it out to every single customer who came in. My plan was simple. Find 600 people to contribute $500 each. That would bring us to a grand total of $300,000. So far, we got $3,628 from the weekly. We still had $296,371 to go. A few customers threw my story in the trash, but a surprising number didn't. They responded with genuine interest and curiosity. A few were moved by what I told them about our situation and the kind of year that we have been having and how we got through it together by pulling it as a family. They opened their checkbooks and wrote checks for $700,000, $4,000, $5,000, and even $8,000. One customer wanted to know my vision for the Calvista. His name was Mr. Cooper, and he was a venture capitalist from Los Angeles passing through his way down to San Diego. A venture capitalist, Mr. Cooper said, was someone who invested in small companies before they become big companies. Though he could afford to stay anywhere, Mr. Cooper still liked to live frugally, and that was why he was at the Calvista. Where do you see the Calvista in 5 years? Mr. Cooper asked me. Right here, I said, a little confused by his question. He laughed. No, I mean, what kind of things do you expect from the Calvista? I thought about it and said, I just want everybody to be happy. Every single customer. Mr. Cooper smiled. That's the kind of vision I like to hear. I'd be honored to invest, he said. Mr. Cooper took out his checkbook and wrote us a check for a jaw-dropping $50,000. As he handed us the enormous check, my mother's hands shook. She'd never seen so many zeros all in one place. I'm expecting big things from this place, Mr. Cooper beamed. Big things. With Mr. Cooper's check and the other customers' contributions, we still needed about $230,000. So the next day, I went around to all the shops in our street. To my wild surprise, both Mr. Abayan from the convenience store and Mr. Bagwadi from the dry cleaners wanted to invest. Are you sure? I asked them. Are you kidding? This is our chance to own a piece of land in America, they said. They were tired of sending all their money back to their relatives month after month. For once, they were going to spend it on themselves. They gave me $1,000 each, cash. I ran all the way home, clutching the thick stack of hundreds in my hands. Lupe came over with even more thrilling news. Her parents talked about it over, and they wanted to invest $10,000, the entirety of their emergency fund. But it's your emergency fund, I said. Are you sure about this? Lupe nodded. We've never been more sure of anything in our life, she said. So let's take a moment and pause and kind of just summarize what's going on so far. So Mia came up with this idea to get money to pay for the hotel by asking each of her friends and all the customers and people around her to invest into the hotel by donating or investing in whatever money they had. And so far, it seems like the plan is working. People really want to get a better life for themselves, and Mia is helping them by giving them this plan to invest money and own a piece of property in America. Let's keep reading on. As her dad added his chunk to the huge pile of money, Lupe and I grabbed each other's arms and jumped up and down screaming, "We're getting off the roller coaster! We're getting off the roller coaster!" By the end of the week, we were $85,000 down, $215,000 to go. I took out the big ledger and started writing to old customers. I wrote to Mr. Lewis, the guy who gave me a hard time about the key and wanted all those extra pillows. To my surprise, he wrote back and sent me a check for $100 along with a gift card to Home Depot for a better key machine. Mr. and Mrs. Mr. Miller, the nice couple who gave me $8 tip, sent $75. They told their friend about it, a guy who made a fortune selling mops on the Home Shopping Channel on TV, and he called us up and told us he wanted to invest. My dad then got on the phone and started calling up some of the immigrants who had stayed in our motel. When the immigrants heard, they wanted to get in on the deal too. Aunt Ling, Uncle Lee, Uncle Feng, and Uncle Stu each invested $100, $125, $150, and $200. Even Uncle Zhang, who had just gotten a new job parking cars at a parking garage, put in $88, which pleased my parents very much because of the number 8. Word got out that it was a killer investment opportunity, and soon immigrants all up and down the state were coming over to invest. If we can't have the American dream to ourselves, maybe we can have it together, the immigrants explained. My parents were in awe. They could not get over the fact that so many people, total strangers, could believe in them like that. Could look at them and decide, hey, I don't know you, but I believe you. I believe in your dream, and put their crisp green bills into their tired, blistered hands. One stranger after another, flesh and bones, looked into their eyes and said yes, when time and time again they looked at themselves and said no. 2 weeks later, an even more amazing thing happened. Hank walked into the front desk with a stack of bills. He slid across the front desk, a thick stack of 20s. You found more money? I asked. No, you found more money, he said. I furrowed my eyebrows at him. I didn't understand. I got your money back from the essay people, he announced. You what? I couldn't believe my ears. How? I took a page from your book, he said. I wrote them a letter. I reached over and touched the fresh green bills. My lucky penny money. I thought I'd never see it again. When I explained to them how young you are and how you worked hard for that money, they returned it like that, Hank snapped his fingers. Oh, Hank, thank you, I said. He waved away my thanks like it was nothing, even though that what he did meant the world to me. So what are you going to do with it, Hank said. I'll tell you what I'm going to do with it, I said. I'm buying a motel with it. That's my girl, Hank beamed. I wrote the Vermont people to say thank you for returning the money. That's when I had an idea. Their Vermont motel has essay organizers. Thank you so much for returning my entry fee. Can you do me a huge favor? Can you please kindly help me send the following letters out to all the other people who entered the essay contest but did not win? It would mean a lot to me. Thank you. Mia Tang, letter attached.
Dear Sir/Madam, my name is Mia Tang. I am 10 years old like you. I also enter the Vermont Motel Giveaway essay contest for the past year, and I have been helping my parents manage a hotel in Anaheim, California. We have made it our home, from the towels we carefully fold each and every day to the customers we call family. But you see, the motel is not ours. It belongs to a man named Mr. Yao, who is unkind and unjust and stubborn as a rock. My parents think that working for Mr. Yao is the only way, but I don't think so. At night, I dreamed of a better way. I dreamed of owning a motel one day that was ours, so I entered the Vermont Motel Giveaway essay contest. Sadly, though, I did not win. I always knew losing was a possibility. What are the chances of actually winning motel? But still, it hurt watching my hopes and dreams disappear. You probably know the feeling. Well, maybe all our hopes and dreams don't have to disappear. I am writing to you because something has happened here at the Calvista Motel. Mr. Yao is selling his motel. He is selling it for cheap because he's desperate. We're all chipping in to see if we can buy it for him because we're looking for investors. If you'd like to invest, please let me know. It wouldn't be a donation. You would be one of the owners, and then in future, whenever a customer comes to stay at the Calvista, part of that money would go to you. You might be asking, why should I invest in a motel from a 10-year-old? For 3 reasons. 1, I know what I'm doing. I know every corner of this motel like the back of my hand because I've lived and worked here for almost a year. 2, I love what I'm doing. I'm very proud of my work. Every day I check people in the front desk. People like me see enclosed feedback cards because I always go for the extra mile for them. 3, I won't let you down. I will work hard every day for my dream and yours. So what do you say? If we can't win a motel together, let's buy one. No investment is too small. Even if you have some extra pennies and nickels lying around, we'll take them. You'd be amazed what some of them are worth. I look forward to hearing from you. Yours truly, Mia Tang, Manager. A few weeks later, the checks started rolling in. The Vermont essay people sent my letter out, and to my absolute amazement, people from all over the country sent in checks for $50, $100, $2,000, and even $10,000. By the end of that incredible month, and with everyone else's investments, we had reached $300,000. We cashed the checks at the bank and kept all the cash in a giant trash bag which my parents held in their arms at all times and slept with at night in case any robbers came. So things seems to be looking up for Mia and her family. They finally have enough money to buy this hotel for Mr. Yao. Tune in tomorrow to see what happens next. Goodbye.